Ruben Amorim makes Man United sack admission after Manchester City defeat Manchester United, were beaten 3-0 by Manchester City in the first derby of the season to leave them with just 4 points from their opening 4 Premier League games. Ruben Amorim has issued a stark warning to Manchester United after Sunday's defeat at Manchester City. The Red Devils head coach has insisted that if there is a desire from above to alter the club's playing style, he will need to be replaced as manager. United suffered a 3-0 loss at the hands of City in the season's first derby, leaving them with a mere 4 points from their first 4 Premier League matches. It marks their worst start to a season since the 1992-93 campaign. Amorim, who took over the reins at Old Trafford on November 1st last year, has only managed to secure 8 victories from the 31 Premier League games he has overseen. As a result, United are languishing at the bottom of the 17-team table, which includes all teams that have been consistently present in the league since his appointment. Despite being contracted with the club until 2027, the recent loss is likely to stoke further doubts about Amorim's future at United. "Guys, I understand that and I accept," he said after Sunday's defeat to City. "It is not a record you should have in Manchester United. There are a lot of things you have no idea what happened during these months, but I accept that. I am not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. We will talk about that every game that we lose. I don't believe in that, in the system, or whatever. I believe in my way, and I am going to play my way until I want to change. My message is that I am going to give everything. I will do everything, always thinking about what is best for the club." That was always the same message. "It is not my decision, the rest on whether United change manager. Until I am here, I will do my best. I really want to win games. I am suffering more than them." Despite a lackluster run of 1 victory in 5 matches, Amorim maintained that United have shown improvement over last season, although they've only managed to net 1 goal from open play in 6 hours of Premier League action. The results, again, I accept that, he conceded. "I see that we are doing better, but the results don't show that. I remember last year we played in the former club against City. We won 4-1 with Sporting in the Champions League. It was not near the opportunities, the way we control the game compared to today. In certain moments, we were not better than City. I understand that. It is hard, and the record says everything. I understand." United's promising start faded when Phil Foden scored in the 18th minute, followed by 2 second-half goals from Erling Haaland sealing their fate. Haaland's physical prowess was on display as he overpowered Luke Shaw for his first goal and sprinted from his own half for another solo effort that beat Altay Bayindir. Amorim lamented United's lack of aggression, which he felt contributed to their defeat. "If you look at the goals, we can avoid that kind of goal," he said. "We have almost everyone behind the ball, and we could be more aggressive. The second goal, in the moment of the game that we are pressing City. We suffer a goal in the throw-in. When we want to recover the ball instead of covering the space and then to win the ball, we let 2 players of City 1 against 1. The approach that we had in that play we can avoid, and we can close our goal. The third goal, Haaland has all the space. A confusion with our players, and then he has all the space to play. In these moments, I felt that if you look at the goals, there are moments we could avoid. That is the key of the game. It's to take advantage of these moments, and they took it. In transitions, a great shot from Bryan Mbeumo. In those moments, they were better than us. What Erling Haaland did to Gianluigi Donnarumma highlighted Man City transfer masterstroke. Gianluigi Donnarumma enjoyed a dream debut as Manchester City cantered past Manchester United to win the derby. It turned out we need not have worried. In a summer where Manchester City allowed 2 goalkeepers to leave and added a trio of new faces, the decision to move for Gianluigi Donnarumma was justified in stunning fashion in the Manchester derby. The ability of the 26-year-old was never in question. His ability to play the ball with his feet and how his presence between the posts would impact City's team were the main questions of the somewhat surprising decision to add the PSG keeper to the ranks just a matter of weeks after re-signing James Trafford. And while those questions still remain, they're of less relevance when you can do what the Italian did on the hour mark against Manchester United. With the ball dropping invitingly for Bryan Mbeumo at the back post, the United man executed a superb volley that was bettered in its brilliance by Donnarumma's sensational save, extending every inch of his 6'5" frame to tip the ball behind. Erling Haaland, the two-goal hero at the other end, couldn't believe what he had seen and was straight up to his new teammate, roaring his approval and giving the Italian a huge chest bump. Within 10 minutes, Haaland had his second and City's third, and the game was over. It was a dream debut for Donnarumma. It always felt as though he would be thrown into the 11 after just a few sessions with his new teammates, and he barely put a foot wrong. Tough as it might be on Trafford, Donnarumma will be hard to dislodge on the early evidence. He was down well to save Benjamin Sesko's early chance and was out quickly to smother the same player on the half-hour mark. It was routine enough stuff, but unfussy and unflustered, as you would expect from a Champions League and European Championship winner. There had been some questions as to whether, despite his sizable frame, he would be able to dominate the penalty area, having sometimes struggled in France and on the international stage. But there were no such concerns against United. Donnarumma set the tone inside the first 5 minutes, with a strong hand on a cross into the box, and on the stroke of half-time he came well for a corner and got significant distance on another punch. The positives were clear to see, and while he didn't play the eye of the needle passes Ederson might have, he was tidy enough with his short game. There were a couple of occasions where he went long when the short ball might have been the option, and City ceded possession as a result. But that's nitpicking, even if it might be an area to note should City's style change with the 26-year-old in goal. As it was, Donnarumma wandered off the pitch in conversation with Peter Schmeichel, a Great Dane and a giant Italian. The new City keeper might be something of a throwback, but City are certainly in good hands with him at the back. Haaland summed it up after collecting his Player of the Match award. I might give it to Gigi actually. He was unbelievable. Manchester City player ratings versus Manchester United with Donnarumma and Haaland, brilliant, and 4 8 out of 10s. Manchester City claimed Derby Day, bragging rights with a 3-0 win against Manchester United at the Etihad, and it was familiar names who did the damage. Just as they did 3 years ago, Phil Foden and Erling Haaland combined to take down Manchester United at the Etihad and earn City Derby Day bragging rights. Foden and Haaland shared hat-tricks in that 6-3 win and got the goals between them again this time. Foden opened the scoring before 2 second-half Haaland strikes made sure of the 3 points and a 3-0 win that was serenely routine for the Blues. Gianluigi Donnarumma made his City debut in goal and produced one brilliant save, but otherwise it was a dominant display from Pep Guardiola's side as they got back to winning ways in style after 2 successive Premier League defeats. Manchester City versus Manchester United derby could have 12 stars missing after fresh injury blows. Manchester City and Manchester United have both been hit by a number of injuries ahead of their crunch Premier League derby clash at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Pep Guardiola and Ruben Amorim have both revealed they'll be missing several key stars for Sunday afternoon's Manchester derby showdown at the Etihad Stadium. United face fewer headaches, though Matthias Cunha and Mason Mount have suffered recent blows. Both players hobbled off during the thrilling 3-2 triumph over Burnley a fortnight ago, while Diogo Dalot withdrew from Portugal duty in September's break. The trio have been ruled out by Amorim for the cross-city clash. They in turn join Lisandro Martinez in Carrington's medical room at United's Carrington base. They are out for this game. I don't know how long it's going to take, Amorim stated in Friday's press conference. We need these guys to be a competitive team. We have very good players who are eager to play, so we will be competitive on Sunday, but they are out. When pressed on the potential length of their absences, Amorim continued, I don't want to say. If you talk to Cunha outside, he will say he can play this game. They are pushing really hard. As for City, Guardiola appears set to be without several vital figures. However, the Catalan head coach may also welcome back a crucial trio. On the brighter side there, Josko Gvardiol and Savinho have both resumed training lately and might therefore be involved, while Phil Foden is anticipated to be available. The September international break didn't treat Guardiola kindly, with Omar Marmoush picking up an injury while representing Egypt, just days after John Stones had to pull out from the England squad. The City boss provided updates on these two. He also confirmed other names on the injury list. Omar is injured, Ryan Ait-Nouri, Ryan Cherki is injured. The rest are fine, he stated on Friday. Stones as well is a doubt. Not a big issue, but he is a doubt for Sunday. When quizzed about how long Marmoush might be sidelined, Guardiola disclosed, "We have to make the last tests. A few weeks. Before the October international break, he will be ready." Players like Mateo Kovacic, Marcus Bettinelli, Calvin Phillips, and Abdulkader Kusanov have been nursing injuries recently. However, the latter duo could be fit, having been spotted in training. Manchester City set to hand forgotten star shock lifeline after Pep Guardiola apology. Manchester City are poised to include Calvin Phillips in their 25-man Premier League squad this season, with the midfielder last making an appearance for the club back in 2023. Calvin Phillips could be brought back in from the cold at Manchester City, with the midfielder set to be included in the former champions' 25-man squad for the Premier League, following a year away from the Etihad. Phillips, 29, spent the 2024-25 campaign on loan at Ipswich Town after falling out of favour at City. The former Leeds star is still a City player though, after a permanent move away from the club failed to materialise this summer. And it has now emerged that Phillips is eligible to participate in the Manchester derby on Sunday after being named in the club's Premier League squad. Even prior to his temporary switch to Suffolk last year, Phillips had been frozen out by Pep Guardiola. He last played for Manchester City 21 months ago, back in the 2023 Club World Cup. Yet the Telegraph claims that Phillips will be given the chance to resurrect his career with City. Phillips, who has been working on his fitness ahead of the 2025-26 campaign, made 19 appearances for Ipswich last year as they were relegated from the top flight. The £45 million midfielder also had a spell on loan at West Ham after falling down the pecking order at the Etihad following his move from Leeds in 2022. Things unravelled for Phillips at City following the 2022 World, when Guardiola criticised the midfielder over his physical condition after he returned to Manchester from Qatar. Speaking in February 2024 after